will go on the inside of that, though it is not essential. We're now at the halfway point of the race, just past the old railway bridge and the Ardoan Theatre, and there's a big wide bay here. Now this is one of the places where it's possible that it might be rough, so be careful, and if it is rough, don't go through the middle of the rough water. The most sensible tactic is to go to the Coxes right of the rough water if you have a choice, but maybe you will have to go to the left. It doesn't really matter. There's a big wide bay. Look across the bay and you will see some brown reeds. That is the next place to aim for. The next bend goes to the right, so you need to be over towards those brown reeds that you just see here to the right of the screen. There's then a long sweeping bend round to the right till we get to the Scillies River. Take the bend fairly tight. There's not much stream, but there are reeds sticking out. There are no rocks or anything, just reeds. So be careful of the reeds. Here we go round to the right. And we're now halfway round the bend, which is on the right, coming up towards the Scillies River, which flows out on the left. And again, as usual, keep looking quite a long way ahead. Now, from this point, be careful. Stop steering by the right-hand bank and steer for the left-hand bank across this bay. And there will be a white notice coming up on the left-hand bank. Steer across there. The notice says dead slow. So here we are steering across the river to the other side. There's the dead slow sign on our left. And here is another place where it's likely to be roughish. So keep in to the left-hand bank. It might be rough out to your right. Now the trick here is to look a long way ahead, right to the far end of the lake, and you will see a grey building with a gable end in the middle of it. That is where you steer for. Steering down this straight, steer in the far distance, and you will discover that in fact you leave the left-hand bank, go nearly over to the right-hand bank, and then you're back at the left-hand bank on the left-hand side of the island, the Coxes left. All crews must go to the left-hand side of the island. If you go to the right-hand side, you will be disqualified. There is where you should be aiming for. In the middle of the picture is the whitish grey building. That's the right-hand side where you must not go. This is the left-hand side where all the crews have to steer. There will be a safety boat at the upper end of the island here, making sure that you go to the Coxes left. That's the upper end of the island. That is where you steer. And when we get to the island, the next bend is to the right, which takes us round to the West Bridge. Here we are beside the island, and there's the building that we should be steering for, round the side of the island, and then you steer left through the two bridges. The first new bridge, there's no difficulty with that. The second bridge is the old West Bridge. Under no circumstances are any crews to go through the right-hand arch. If you do, you could be swept onto the middle pillar. It has happened in the past. All crews must go through the left-hand arch. There will be a police boat above the bridge making sure that this happens. It is possible for two crews to pass side by side under the bridge, 2/8. So if you find that happening, don't panic, just stick to your line, and the left-hand crew should obviously keep to the left. Here we are, round into the final straight. On the left there's the round O where the launching will take place. There are two launching facilities, one for 8s and one for 4s, and there will be two marshals there making sure that everybody knows what to do. That is just a backwards shot looking upstream towards the West Bridge, where you will be setting off after you've launched. You'll be setting off up there. And here we are looking down the final straight. The finish is there'll be a flag flying on top of the boathouse, and down the middle of this straight there'll be some red buoys. All crews must keep to the right-hand side of the red buoys. That's where the finish will be. There'll be a flag on top of that flagpole. and on the opposite side is where the finishing timer will be, just a bit past where those swans are.